Can I please invite to the stage our Honorary Chair, Greg Sohomonian, and Board Member, Harach Lusikyan. As the gentlemen make their way up, the Freedom Award is the top honour handed out by the Armenian national committees around the world. This award has been received by the Uniting Church in Australia, Joe Hockey, Gladys Berejiklian, Senator Bob Menendez, Terry George, and Grammy Award winner Serge Tankian, among others, for their advocacy for the freedoms that Armenians hold dear. This year, the recipient of the ANC-AU Freedom Award is someone who has always exhibited unyielding and exemplary dedication and advocacy in promoting justice for the Armenian genocide, peace and freedom for the Republic of Artsakh, and all issues of importance to Armenian Australians. Member for Bennelong John Alexander has been a long-standing advocate of the Armenian genocide and has always championed self-determination for the indigenous Armenians of the Republic of Artsakh. In May 2019, he became one of the inaugural members of the Australian Friends of Artsakh network, and in September last year, he made history as the first federal Australian parliamentarian to visit the Republic of Artsakh. Alexander's visit earned him a place alongside many local and international political leaders on the persona non grata blacklist of Azerbaijan's dictator, which he recently referred to as, quote, an honour. It is my honour to introduce our 2020 Freedom Honoree, our friend and an all-round champion, John Alexander MP.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Haig. And thank you all. Firstly, I would like to recognise and congratulate you on your words tonight. You've left me with very little to say. There's nothing I could add. You were quite magnificent. And you're also a great chap to go on tour with, as Trent and Tim were. We had such a memorable trip just a little over a year ago. I feel in some ways it's wrong that you would honour me, because it is my honour to have been conscripted into your team and to work to right the wrongs. And the first thing that must be done, because if we don't recognise history, history will just repeat itself. And that is tragically what we have seen in recent weeks. And so the first thing that must be achieved is the recognition of the genocide. It is horrific to see the echoing of those tragic photos of 105 years ago of over 1 million people being walked into the desert, and now they are being herded away, this time in their cars. At least they are going to survive. The trip to Armenia last year, and may I say, it was a lot of fun too. And there was a lovely moment at a winery, which was one of the oldest wineries, I think, in the world. And on that occasion, we celebrated with music. And there was our representative there who sang beautifully with our host. And then the heads turned to us to respond, possibly in song. I thought that might be a mistake, Hugh. But I found some words and I didn't say where I found them from, but the words were very simple. It was, if time were not a moving thing and I could make it stay, this hour of love would last forevermore and there'd be no coming day. And it seemed so right because it was such a lovely moment that we were sharing. But inevitably, on returning to Australia, you ponder these things and reflect. And the reflections that I had were, if I can put them into a short few words, that this strange quirk of history of our soldiers invading at Gallipoli, many being killed, but they were invading a country. That country had the right to defend themselves. But it was those who were spared and imprisoned who were the witnesses of the genocide. And that's where the first reports came from. And it seems to me that it's difficult to reconcile that it was our soldiers who witnessed and reported the genocide and that our country does not at this point. But so often it's important to get third-party endorsements and get others like you and Tim and Trent and myself to endorse and support your position. And I thought that maybe one way of going would be to get the Australian RSL, because that is the body that represents those soldiers who gave witness, and that they should join our battle to have the genocide recognised. And I couldn't help but think that how would these brave men who had given their lives, if somehow you could put your feet in their shoes, how would they feel that you were going to turn a blind eye to these atrocities, to this genocide, for the sake of being able to hold a commemoration each year at Anzac Cove? And I think they would be horrified by such actions. The courage to do what would be right in this instance is truly trivial compared to the courage of those men, and we dishonour them by not standing up for what is right and obeying what they saw and standing up for that. I am no poet, but it did move me to write something, and I'd like to read it to you out of fear of not being able to remember it. But I called it Reflections of an Unnamed Anzac, Gallipoli 1915. We landed with our guns firing and were met with a merciless defence. So many slaughtered, some survived, some imprisoned. From the relative safety of our cells, how did we feel about our enemy? Could we understand their brutality justified by our invasion? Imprisoned, we saw another side of our enemy, not the one fighting an armed aggressor. Now their brutality was against their own unarmed, only protected with their Bibles and their faith. This grotesque action had no justification. We came with our guns, they went with their Bibles. Anzacs and Armenians, guns and Bibles. Thank you.